Then we met a wounded soldier who had been hit in the leg. He had been hit in a place called Idlib near the Turkish border, and he was bringing food to the troops. So he was basically the commissary, part of his unit. He was attacked by an armed group, including gunfire and IEDs, improvised explosive devices. So his group was riding in a vehicle, 8 soldiers, 2 were killed. The shooters were shouting Allahu Akbar, and they were urging the soldiers to throw down their guns, and the attackers numbered about 15, according to his count. Another group, this was a group of one guy had been in a convoy of vehicles, and they ran into an ambush. They were in the vehicle. He was hit several times, and he said again, this constant thing we find, that he was surprised by the shooting. He doesn't know how many attackers hit him, and he says basically there was six men in his squad. 2 of them were wounded. Another case. This guy was wounded in Homs. He was attacked by an armed group. It's in a place called Babatrim, Babatrim, suburb of Homs. Now this is different because this was an offensive operation. At least it wanted to be an offensive operation. He said we were told by superior officers that there was an armed group operating in their zone, so they were sent to arrest them, right, to basically neutralize them. But the group from the Syrian army came under fire as they approached the place where this terror group was operating, that squad, let's say. There were 100 soldiers in this group. 7 were wounded and 6 were killed. They had a tank with them. And the guy pointed out that the armed group that attacked them was relatively numerous. In other words, there were a good number of terrorist shooters. These people were dressed in black, and they attacked at 10 a.m. on the morning of October 29th. They had all kinds of weapons. In particular, they had an RPG, and they were able to score an RPG hit on the tank that this group of troops had with them. They had light weapons, machine guns, Kalashnikovs, and so forth. But the big thing was the RPG. So they had an array of weapons. Then we had another soldier, 20 years old, couldn't talk to us. He had been wounded 2 months ago. And this was a terrible wound because he was not able to say anything. He had a tube in his nose, and he was basically knocked out. We talked to his parents. His parents were very proud of their son. They said he was called to save a fellow trooper. He was then saved by his friend. It was 2 months ago. We'll be back in a minute on World Crisis Radio. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley reporting tonight from Beirut, Lebanon. Let me just repeat our usual invitations. Keep up with everything on tarpley.net. I hope that some of my material is up there. Let me just point my internet control room, if I can, in the direction of the following things. Yesterday, being Thursday, I was able to record a couple of programs for television stations in Damascus. One of them was about a 1-hour interview, and the other one would have been about 30 minutes. The 1-hour one was done with a simultaneous Arabic translation. This was, I think, quite interesting. And then the other one was done in English with a very smart young interviewer, and that's one unit. Now, today there was this press conference here in Beirut, which was addressed by the Mother Superior of the Greek Melkite Catholic Monastery, Catholic again meaning supporting the Pope of Rome. This is the Saint James the Mutilated. It's not the St. James some people might think. It's not the St. James the Apostle Jesus loved. It's not the so-called brother of Jesus, of the 12 apostles. This is another St. James coming from Iran, and he was cut into pieces by his enemies, and he serves as a symbol of the reunification of Christianity. So, for reasons that we're going to mention a bit, the idea is that the Christians in these areas, and again, Syria has about 15% Christians. They are some of the most threatened people. It's also a very interesting story. In Iraq, you had Chaldean Christians. The Chaldeans, some of them at least, or most of them being allied with the Roman Pope. They're the ones who were driven out when the place was divided into Kurds and Sunnis and Shiites under U.S. auspices. The U.S. approach to the Middle East is obviously a divide and conquer strategy based on exacerbating and playing to these sort of sectarian differences. A lot of the Chaldean Christians took refuge in Syria, a couple of million, and the Syrians extended immediate access to the social safety net to those Christians, the Chaldeans in particular, coming from Iraq, or anybody or any Christian was going to get immediate access to the social safety net, social payments, and some hope for housing and some kind of allowances, right? To keep body and soul together. That is why when Iraq voted against Syria in the Arab League last week, in this monstrous spectacle of betrayal, there was a real deeply felt resentment by the Syrians against Iraq. And of course, I guess Iraq is an occupied country still and will be for quite a while. But this left a very, very bad taste. So this is the condition of the Christians. So the initiative for the group that I took was coming from groups within the Christian community of Syria. So let me just go back and wrap up the visit that we took to the Damascus Military Hospital. Another case that we had. This is Hama now. This is the place north of Homs, where a lot of stuff is also going on. This is an ambush now. A soldier was shot basically in the head. This was 30 soldiers and an officer. They walked into an ambush. They started shooting back. They don't know, the guy we talked to didn't know how many shooters, terrorists there had been, and they were dressed in civilian clothes, normal stuff, not black, not hooded. But some of them were hooded. And again, the Kagula, right? The Kagula Revolution, right? We had the Green Revolution, the Orange Revolution, the Roses Revolution, all these wonderful Cedars Revolution. Now we have the Kagula Revolution, which basically means fascists. So he was set on by 5 to 6 attackers, and some of these were hooded. So that's basically the picture.